And welcome to Nancy's Neighborhood, folks. And it's kind of warm and humid in the neighborhood today. Whew. It kind of feels like rain when I walked out to come to the studio today. But I have two great guests on with me today. And the first one, somebody I've had on with me a couple of times before, and I just love having him on. I hadn't had him on in a while. But I've been enjoying his Facebook page. He's a professor at Lee University, Luis Almeida. And he's also a golfer. And he's also into techno. And I'm not going to get any of this right, but he's also an expert in the dark web and some things like that. He's written a book, and as you can see, Luis, I have some things marked, but I probably won't ask you any questions. And the book is available at Lee University. Yes. He's also a published author in our Cleveland Daily Banner. He does, is that once a week?
Twice a month.
Twice a month, okay, because I always love reading it. So, folks, welcome Luis Almeida. And, Luis, great to have you on with me again.
Nancy, I miss you.
I've missed you too, because you are so much fun, and you're having so much fun on the campus at Lee.
Absolutely. You know, in this day and age, we have cell phones.
Yes, we do.
And we have selfie sticks.
Yes, we do. And Luis runs all over campus with his selfie sticks and keeping us apprised of what's going on at Lee University. So
yes.
Tell everybody what you're teaching over there now, Luis.
Well, this semester I'm teaching 4 classes. I'm teaching a class in research methods for mass communicators, teaching a class in intercultural communication. I'm also teaching a class in web design. It's been a lot of fun. Oh, yeah, that's a very popular one. And a class in, guess what? Social media and innovation.
Wow.
How to use computer technology in moderation online.
In moderation,
yes,
online. And that's something that Luis goes into a lot with his book that he wrote, and most of the time with his articles, because yes. I know this article was within social media, talent differentiates. Mm-hmm. So you're finding that out with your students, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No question.
Yes. And it's amazing. You can have 30 students and you're going to have 30 different students. They're not going to be the same.
It's exactly right. And yeah.
And I want to go into Luis's background just a little bit, because you're not from the United States originally.
That's correct.
You are from?
I was born in Brazil originally. I'm a U.S. citizen.
Yes, I know that.
Very proud of it.
Yes, I know that. And we're proud of you for being that, yes.
Yeah, but I'm an American through Brazil. I was born in South America.
Yes, and I found out several months ago that he was also really close to being a professional golfer in Brazil. So I just now ask him, are you taking it back up?
Well, interesting you asked that question. So I'm going to ask you to not tell anybody.
Okay, we won't. This is just, this is total secret, folks, okay?
Don't tell anybody.
That's right.
But I'm practicing for the Tennessee mini tour next year.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's something that I kind of have to do it. And I spoke with my wife about it. And I'm putting the time and the effort to make that happen. So, Lord willing, by next summer, we'll be playing a few here in Tennessee.
And I think that's great.
Looking forward to it.
And you were an excellent golfer in Brazil. And so when you moved to the United States, of course, some things shifted and changed. Yes. You weren't able to do that. So I'm glad you're going to be able to pick that back up.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I was thinking about all of that. Nancy, I'm 44 years old.
Young. You're 44 years young.
I'm still young. I'm not that old
yet. You're young.
Right? I'm young, maybe a little old, young, but not there yet.
Right.
And the senior tour in America starts at age 50.
Yes.
And I was starting to think about that. I started thinking about this, and I say, well, maybe I can play some tournaments. And how cool would it be for a Lee University professor to play a few of those tournaments? Not only it would be fun, personally, I would be very happy to have that opportunity. But what happens if I start winning those tournaments?
Oh, wow. Oh, I can say, I know you win.
Come study at Lee University.
There you
go. Dr. A is here. Come to study communication.
Absolutely.
So this is also kind of motivational that way. And, you never know what's going to come in the future. Only the Lord knows, right?
That is true.
That's
true.
Something that we have to keep in mind, I guess.
And I think the thing that fascinated me, the first time I met Luis, I had been to a conference, Tennessee School Board Association conference, where they introduced me to the dark web. Yes. I had no idea, none. It just blew me away. And so that's what Luis and I talked about the first time he was on here. So just delve into that just a little bit for our audience.
Well, I think we need to to talk about the implications of what's happening out there.
Yes.
And if you don't mind, if I can do a shout out for Reba Terry
Yes.
with the work that she does with opioids here in Cleveland, Tennessee.
Absolutely.
Because that's a big problem we have in Cleveland and beyond. And what's happening out there on the internet in places that we just don't know, with a currency that we cannot control, that we don't control, with cryptocurrency, there are people out there dealing drugs. They are taking advantage of our children, right? In a part of the internet that a lot of us, we just don't know. We call that the dark web.
Yeah, I had no idea.
And we have a problem, big problem in Southeast Tennessee that involves is that the dark web is where the kids go and start getting illegal prescriptions and so forth to be able to consume them. And they are predators. They are out there taking advantage of our children. And again, what Reba has been doing with the bridge here, nonprofit, the bridge, is incredible. And it tackles that. We had a conversation in my office about it about a year ago, and we were in communication to this day on the issue. But yeah, the dark web is here, and unfortunately, it's going to cause much more pain for us. So it's the other side of the internet, as we say.
And how do the kids know that this is there, Louise?
The kids know much more than we think.
Yes,
Nancy.
I'm sure I know they
Nancy,
know much more than me where it comes to computers, but
they will find a way. They will find a way to use those tools that we can use for good. I mean, think about using social media for sending your message to your audience and be able to influence a particular audience to do the right thing, but they also can go there and use that tool for bad. So you're going to find a way, whenever somebody has an addiction, right?
Okay.
They're going to find a way to try to keep that addiction going, unfortunately. And then the system, the internet, doesn't care too much for us. At least is my position.
okay, and that's
So,
fine because I think you're a professional with this. So yes,
the internet doesn't care if we are suffering or if you are not suffering. So then the system allow some individuals to use that technology for bad. And that's why we're seeing the rise of the dark web and all the bad things that come from it, which I have been seeing this for over 5 years, and now folks are starting to pay attention to it. That not everything about technology is good, and the dark
true.
web is just one example of how technology isn't. And we're starting to see an impact outside of the web with our children, which is just very disturbing.
it is. It's scary.
Very.
And as a school board member, I'm aware of these. There's some situations, and
yeah.
and as a person who's not knowledgeable on the internet, and then I'm really scared for our kids because I don't have any idea. I mean, I was totally shocked at that seminar I went to in Nashville. Well, I guess it was a year and a half ago, and then I had you on the show to talk about it, and I was just blown away.
Yeah, and look, most folks don't realize that those kids they're not even using the dollar to trade. There are cryptocurrencies where folks are using right now to be able to get some of these products or whatever you want to call them, And can you imagine how far we have gone, Nancy?
I know.
We live in the United States here. We have an official
We have official currency, yes.
dollar.
Yes.
But then is a way for them, right, to be able to do something. They're going to be able to get what they want in, I guess, the dark way.
And that is so scary. So if you had
Yes.
anything to say to parents about this, Louise, what would you say?
Well, here's what I have been saying here in Cleveland for about a year since we moved here to this town. Do not let your kid have this device here all the time. This isn't the new pacifier. Even though it's used as a pacifier in a lot of ways, it isn't. The consequences, some of the bad consequences of overuse of these can really be detrimental to your child. And
Yeah, and this is not dark web, but Luis, I'm finding this, and you may be finding it with some of your Lee students now. Because of that apparatus, people don't communicate. Like you and I are sitting here having a conversation.
Yeah.
They can't do that.
No, they are not as good in communicating what we call interpersonally, right?
Right.
Or in groups, both. And again, that's another side effect of the overuse of this. So in my household, my daughter Sophia, which is 5 years old,
And she's precious.
oh, thank you. That's
She
so
is.
kind
She's
of
precious.
you. Yeah, she's a cutie.
She is. I loved her first massage. I thought that was awesome.
Well, Sophia does not use the cell phone for more than an hour a day.
Oh, wow. I think that's great.
We don't allow her.
Yeah.
And what we're finding, Nancy, is that she's being more talkative than her kids. We hear that from the teachers. One. Second, she takes the time to be active, which kids should be active.
Absolutely.
Right? And what we notice also that she does not have a problem going to sleep.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
And I have been reading a lot about this because we have a 5-year-old that most folks have a problem with having their kids going to sleep, but that kind of makes sense because can you imagine if you're constantly looking at a computer or a computerized device and that light is hitting your eye, right? It makes you alert. So we don't allow that.
I think that's
For
awesome.
Sophia. And we understand that technology is going to be a part of her life.
Yes.
We get it. But there is always a time for everything. And the good God has told us this, right? In Ecclesiastes 3. And we are Christians, and we apply those Christian principles in how we raise our children.
And I think that's wonderful. But I think so many parents almost use those as babysitters.
Exactly. Almost as a pacifier,
Yes,
babysitter pacifier. And don't do it. It's going to damage your kid. I've seen this. I've spoken with families who have that kind of behavior. And it's going to be much more expensive later on to fix it than limiting right now, right? And so forth.
Absolutely. And I think in school, sometimes when the kids have too much access to those at home, then and having taught elementary school, sometimes I felt like I had to do some kind of song and dance. I had to do, and this was several years ago, but I had to entertain the kids to get their attention.
Exactly.
And I think that's sad. We should not have to do that. Now, learning should be fun, but we shouldn't have to entertain them for them to learn.
Yeah, there's a big difference, right? As educators, we can talk about this here also. There's a big difference between entertaining somebody and educating them. Nancy, don't get me wrong. I love technology.
Oh, yes, I'm sure you do, because it's part of your life, yes.
I love technology in the classroom. I am for schools, my opinion, for schools to have computers in schools,
Yes.
100%. But computers, as we know, right, are supposed to help the teacher to teach the class, not teach the class for the teacher.
Absolutely.
So sometimes we lose track of what is important by giving too much credit to the machine, when in reality it's about the teacher. I want my kid to be taught by a teacher, Nancy, and that teacher having the tools of the modern
Right.
age to be able to do his or her work. Ain't complicated,
Right.
right?
Right, absolutely. And the thing, too, is that we were talking the social connection a minute ago, when so many of these kids, if they stay on the device all the time, then even in the classroom, they are not interacting because they've lost that ability to interact with people.
Exactly.
They
That's
can
exactly
interact
right.
with the computer, interact with their cell phone, but interacting with people is not good. They just don't do it.
That's why some of our kids today, they get very bored when they are
Yes.
not on those devices, unless you train the child, right, over time to understand that the technology is only a piece of their life, not just their whole lives
Right.
and stuff.
Absolutely. And I know we have, because I work with the chamber a little bit about some things, and
Yeah.
we have a couple of employers that say, when we interview, people can't interview anymore. Now, they can sit there and do this. If you ask them questions, they can text it right back to you, but that's not what they're looking for in the job force.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because October the 5th, maybe if I can make an announcement.
Oh, yes,
also.
please
Is that
do.
okay?
Please do.
October the 5th at the Lee campus, I'm going to give a presentation on that.
Oh, okay.
Technomotivation is an obligation. Machine replacement is abomination. Only inspiration for human relations. Don't let machines replace Homo sapiens. Overuse of technology is rampant. And I know it's a
Oh, I
you
love it.
know me.
Luis raps all the time, but he does have a book. And my boys have put a clock in here now. And Luis, we have run out of time. I can't believe it because I always enjoy. I'm not going to wait so long to have you back on again. But Luis has a book. It's Becoming a Brand and the Rise of Techno-Moderation. And this is on sale in the Lee Bookstore.
Lee Bookstore.
And so, and Luis is there, and he teaches 4 classes.
4 classes.
4 communications classes. And if anyone would like to have you come and speak concerning the dark web
course.
and things like that, then I'm sure that you can just. Luis is at, well, I thought I had, yes, Luis Almeida.info. Is your website.
LuisAlmeida.info. Yeah.
Yes. And so so you can get in touch with, or just call over at the main line at Lee University, and they'll put you through to his office, and he will be here. I'm volunteering him, but he'll be glad to come speak to any of you education situations that need to talk about the dark web or communications or anything else. And I'm so sorry we've run out of time, Luis. I love seeing you again, and keep all those wonderful things going on Facebook because you are a hoot out there on the Lee campus. I just love it. And we will get together again soon because I need to have you back on because we hit on maybe a fourth of what we need to hit on today. So thank you, Luis. Folks, don't go away, and we'll be right back with my next guest. I heard voices out in the hallway, so I'm hoping that she's here. So don't go away. Watch our commercials, support our sponsors because they pay our bills, and I'll be right back.